We can address emails in many ways, including the original way of just typing it in. But in Outlook, we can also use a variety of address lists as well. But there's actually another very cool option. It's available because Outlook tries to act as our assistant. If we have already sent a message at least once, and we begin typing that email address again, Outlook helps us remember and allows us to autofill or autocomplete the entry. So let's take a look and see how this can work. We're already starting an email message, and the first thing we need to realize is that if we're going to address a message to more than one person, we need to somehow separate those names. Now, if we were just typing, we could use a comma. For example, Susan Jensen, comma, Aaron Olson, comma, Michael Brooks, comma, would work. But in some organizations, the names aren't stored first name, last name. They're stored as last name, comma, first name. Then what we'd end up with is Jensen, comma, Susan, comma, Olson, comma, Aaron, comma, Brooks, comma, Michael, and you can see that that gets very confusing. So I'm going to suggest that we always separate names in Outlook using the semicolon instead of the comma. The semicolon will always work, whereas the comma will only sometimes work. So once we have our cursor after a name, we can type the semicolon and then continue typing. Remember, what we're trying to do here is to use autocomplete, so don't get too carried away and type too fast. We're just going to start by typing a letter or two. All I have to do is type the letter M, because Michael Brooks is evidently the only person we've ever sent an email to out of this version or this installation of Outlook. If we wanted to accept this, we could either click on it or we could just press Tab. But before we get too far, we did want to point out that if for some reason you did not want somebody's name to show up here, for example, if you did type in somebody's email address and you typed it incorrectly, that incorrect spelling would show up in the list. If that's the case, we might accidentally choose it again. So if we ever want to remove a name from the autocomplete list, we can simply click or tap the X on the right-hand side. Now as we continue to type, we notice that that tooltip or that autocomplete does not come up, and now we would be forced to retype the name. Of course, once we resend it, then it will auto-populate again. But this is more a technique of getting rid of the names that we have made by mistake, and not the names that we actually send to on a regular basis. Some of us type so fast that having to stop and press a tab key or something like that seems like it takes extra time. And if that's true, that's okay. We don't have to use autocomplete. But if we're not sure what somebody's email address is, as long as we can get it started, Outlook will probably help us with that autocomplete feature. And for those of us who don't like to type, or who send things to people with really long, complicated email addresses, it really can be a lifesaver. This feature has actually been around for, I guess a long time in Outlook, several versions, and I absolutely love it. It may not be one of the most important features that Outlook offers as far as addressing and sending and managing email, but it is one of the niceties that makes Outlook such a great application to use.